And Jamie, what's remarkable here is that it appears that it is well documented now the former president's inaction that day for a number of hours from multiple sources, first-hand sources. You have new reporting. What are you learning?
So first of all, let's just put it out there. This is bad news for Donald Trump. So in addition to what Congresswoman Cheney said, a person with knowledge of the investigation has told me that the January 6th committee has information from multiple sources with firsthand knowledge. So not just one source, and that these sources describe what President Trump, as you said, was saying, doing, and not doing during the riot. The source said, quote, "There's a collection of people with relevant information." Translation, firsthand indicates someone with direct contact or knowledge. It could be someone who is in the room, someone on the phone, someone with just direct firsthand information. Bottom line, the committee has broken through Trump's wall.
Right. And Jamie, do you have any indication as to who some of these people might be?
So we don't know about a lot of people. More than 300 people have testified. But there's one witness who has publicly given a deposition to the committee, and that's Keith Kellogg, former Vice President Mike Pence's national security advisor, who was actually with Trump in the White House when the riot was going on. The national security advisor, the normal one, Robert O'Brien, was on the road, so Kellogg was filling in. And our colleague, Alex Marquardt, reached out to Kellogg, who told him, he confirmed that he testified under oath to the January 6th committee. He is cooperating, but he declined to comment about the substance of his deposition. Just for context, Kellogg is an interesting witness because he's considered a Trump loyalist, but he's also a retired general who I'm told takes his testimony seriously. Again, he was in the room with Donald Trump during the riot.
So this is a consistent message from the committee.
Right.
Why in particular are they underscoring this right now?
Right. So my understanding is this is part of the committee's strategy to let Trump know. They are sending a message that people who are in the room, possibly his inner circle, are cooperating. It's a warning to Trump that even as some people like Steve Bannon are delaying, trying to defy the committee is still getting critical firsthand evidence. And I would also say it sends a message to others in Trump world that key people are cooperating. They should cooperate too. That's not to say the committee doesn't want information like the documents from the National Archives. Clearly they do. But this is a warning to Donald Trump that pieces of the puzzle are coming together from behind the wall.
Yeah, and perhaps that more people than he even knows have come forward and revealed information.
Absolutely.
Jamie and Gail, fascinating as always. Thank you so much.
Joining us now to discuss Scott Jennings. He's former special assistant to President George W. Bush, also worked for a long time for Mitch McConnell. Scott, always good to have you on. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
So I should note for our viewers that you, as well as your former boss McConnell, have publicly condemned January 6th and also criticized Trump for his role in that, although, of course, McConnell did not vote to impeach here. I wonder, as you hear that reporting there about the pieces coming together, about, at a minimum, the president's inaction on the day of January 6th, are there enough puzzle pieces to come together, in your view, for the Republican Party, for the leaders across the board, to step away from Trump?
Well, it's a great question. I think the reckoning on this will come in 2024 if he seeks the nomination for the presidency again. I mean, look, I voted for him twice. I'm quite pleased with most of the policy outcomes of the Trump administration. But what's become clear is that he violated his oath of office. And I think we already knew a lot of this. He did not act on that day to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution. It is in his oath of office. And so as a party, Jim, what we're going to end up having to reckon with here is, can you return someone to the White House? Will you support someone going back to the White House who, in a moment of crisis, chose to violate their oath of office? It says, to the best of my ability. And I don't think, based on this reporting and based on what we already know, anyone could argue that he acted to do his oath of office to the best of his ability.
And Scott, according to at least Liz Cheney, the answer to your question as to whether he can return to the Oval Office and become president again of the United States, given his inaction, is no. But it's not just from people like yourselves or Mitch McConnell that we heard condemn those inactions. The days and the hours following the insurrection, we heard from Kevin McCarthy. Now we heard, thanks to Liz Cheney over the weekend, saying that Ivanka Trump went in twice to tell her father to do something. And the same with Mark Meadows, getting text messages from Donald Trump Jr., having his dad stop it if he can, please. And yet just days and weeks after that, the situation seemed to change. Why do you think that is? And what message are voters and Trump supporters sending?
Well, I mean, obviously, Donald Trump has stayed on his course and stayed on his message that the election was stolen. And he is the most influential Republican in the country. The grassroots of the Republican Party see him as the leader of the party, and they are more inclined to believe what he says about this matter than, you know, anyone in Congress or me or anyone else for that matter. And so as long as that is the case, that is going to be the prevailing opinion. It's not everybody's opinion in the Republican Party, but yeah, if you go out to a party meeting these days, you'll find a lot of people who not only agree with Donald Trump that the election was stolen, but believe, you know, he should be returned to the presidency. Now, I assume we're going to have a big primary about this in 2024. If I had to put money on it today, I'd say Trump's the odds-on favorite to be the nominee. But surely somebody will stand up to this man and say, I liked a lot of what you did, but January 6th was an unforgivable day.
So I suppose the question then is who, right? I mean, over the weekend, Peter Meyer, one of the 10 House Republicans who voted to impeach former Trump and now drawing ire from the former president and some of his supporters, said, echoing you, at the end of the day, there's no other option right now in the Republican Party. It's a sad testament. Is there really no other option? Handicap this if you can.
Totally,
who could stand up?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
I totally disagree with that statement. I mean, I understand his analysis, which at the moment, if a primary were held, it's obvious Donald Trump would be the nominee. But we have a number of people who could not only execute the same policies you loved about Donald Trump, but also not violate their oath of office in the process. I mean, you look at the governor of Florida, DeSantis. You look at Tim Scott of South Carolina. You look at Nikki Haley. You look at Ted Cruz. Go down the line. We have a number of highly qualified Republicans. Mike Pence. We have a number of highly qualified Republicans who could fulfill the duties of this office, win a national election, and not drag this January 6th baggage into another national election. I actually believe Trump, there's some small chance he could win a national election in 2024. But as a Republican Party, is that what's best for us? Is that what's best for the country? I argue, and I think many Republicans believe, but maybe can't say out loud, there's a whole raft of people that could do this, win an election, and fulfill the policy goals that we have without dragging all this baggage along.
Goes back to Jim's question, though. Who? I guess time will tell. Scott Jennings, thank you as always.
I think. Well, I will just say. I think many people are going to run. I don't think he's going to get a pass. Now, whether they beat him or not, I don't know. But I think you're going to see people file who aren't, sort of from the never Trump land. But people who legitimately can say, I voted for Trump. I support the policies, but we can't win with it. I think you're going to see candidacies like that come forward. The question is, can they be successful?
We'll see, right? Because one commonality among that list you mentioned, right, is that none of those potential candidates has said decisively, I will not stand for this, as you just said there. That'll be a big test as we get close to 2024.
Scott, thanks.
Yes, sir.
Thanks as always.
Yeah, thanks, guys.